right, so right off the bat, I just wanted to say that I can completely understand the importance of somebody's identity. It's who they are, and it's how they categorize themselves, and thus why it's so interesting on how they formulate views or opinions on something according to their social identity, or that they, already predetermine if they accept or reject an idea based on their, like I said, already determined identity, which is, as explained in the article, the social identity theory. Now, as for what I personally thought was interesting, the idea of the boomerang effect really caught my eye. I never really thought about how a certain message can make people do the literal opposite, even more so than what the message is trying to get across. But it definitely makes sense when I reflect on the people in this world, especially in regards to, just our general ignorance and our constant desire to just our stubbornness, 100% our stubbornness. I can absolutely understand and relate to the students who took place in the studies conducted in the article. When the studies concluded that those who placed high on the identity index, had the most identity threat and boomerang activity when faced with an anti-environmental message, I immediately thought of my family. However, to go into a little bit more detail with myself, I can relate more closely to the anxiety part of identity threat. I'm more emotionally mature now, but when I was younger, years ago, in past elections or whatever, if I would see somebody protesting something on the street that I didn't agree with, I would ultimately feel threatened by it, and thus have anxiety, just have a distaste for what they're doing, thus making me feel a little bit anxious. Furthermore, this article influenced my perspective on identity threats because of, again, as I mentioned before, my family. To give another example, my family is far-right conservative, and they always have been. And when they hear about statistics or commercials on something like gun violence in schools, just to throw an example out there, they get even more protective of their conservative ideals and advocate more so for the freedom of gun ownership. Now, that's an entire other conversation that I probably shouldn't get too much into, but of course, just use that as an example. That's why when I see political things on commercials, like we saw with this past recent election, there were tons of persuasive messages that, for example, another example, Democrats would use to resonate with, say, conservative farmers. They might show themselves working hard with the farmers, getting their hands dirty, all in the hopes that their message is accepted, like, less harshly by Republican conservatives. It's through small examples like these, as well as the article, that I can understand the commonality of identity threat and the importance of trying to persuade somebody or a person, whoever it might be, in a way that they can truly understand and resonate with. And yeah, thank you.